detective. Thrill me.
Welcome back to the Thrill Me podcast. First thing I'll say before we get started is we had some previous technical issues for our last episode, the mixtape. I can actually say now they have been sorted out. It wasn't our fault, thankfully, but
it's not usually the case.
Yeah, some previous technical issues have been laid at our feet, but this time it was more of a podomatic situation. It involves some stuff at their end. So if you are after episodes, they are now downloadable through iTunes and playable through the link on Facebook. Now, tonight's episode, Saw from 2004. But before we get into that, let's do a quick whip round as to what we've been watching. I'll kick this off because I've got a bit of a list. Watched 13 Reasons Why, Season 2. Nah, they've shit the bed there.
I think you said almost the exact same thing last episode. Mentioned you had a bit more to get through.
Yeah.
Obviously hasn't improved.
No. Look, it has interesting ideas and it's trying to do some interesting things, but the problem is it's really lazy, a lot of it, which was the first season avoided all of that. This stuff's lazy, and then it ends with the most unnecessary,
no spoilers,
controversial thing that they've basically done it deliberately. I reckon, just because we shocked you the first time, we'll shock you again, whereas the first time it actually made sense that these shocking things were happening. This one just goes too far. It's not on, and somehow they've got a green light for season 3. I don't know how or why.
They've got an audience, that's why.
How they're gonna pick it up, because I can't see where the next step is, but it was just, it was pretty average stuff.
Can't wait for season 3.
I'll be there. I watched 3 seasons of a show on Amazon Prime called Red Oaks, and it's basically a coming-of-age show set in 1985 at a country club. And the first season was really good. It reminded me of Caddyshack, barring the Gophers.
Yeah.
You know, it was really cool, had a bit of humour, it was interesting. Each season got further away from the country club, so each season got less enjoyable. And the third season, it actually only had 6 episodes, the last season. It was okay. It had some really good performance from Paul Reiser, who plays the guy who runs the country club. He was excellent, really, really good. But it just got less interesting as the seasons went on. Well made, though. The Toys That Made Us. I watched the He-Man, Star Wars, Star Trek and Lego episodes.
Good ones, yeah.
Mate, that's gold, that show. It's awesome. Some of it was so funny.
That Star Trek episode.
But just a Lego episode I thought was so cool. The way they had that in their new headquarters, they were building that tree, and they were out of Lego pieces, and it was incorporating all the stuff that came before in the trunk. I thought that stuff was really cool. But my favourite one personally was the Star Wars one, just because of the intricacies of the deal and all that stuff that went on. Just fascinating.
Yeah, and you know, it's always interesting when somebody screws the pooch and then they have to sit there and talk about it.
Justifying everything, yeah.
I saw Avengers Infinity War. I really enjoyed it. I thought I was going to have a little bit of a problem because I hadn't seen some of the leading up ones like Thor Ragnarok or Black Panther.
Ragnarok,
no. So I was like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Am I going to be missing something? But I'd seen Civil War, so I think eventually most of it was there.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. It was fast paced. It didn't feel like 2.5 hours at all. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the second part.
Yep.
And where that goes. We watched The Blind Side. Caitlin was interested. She hadn't seen it before. I really liked that movie.
It's good.
Really, and Sandra Bullock, I was initially kind of got given an Oscar. I didn't feel Oscar worthy, but watching it again, she's actually really, really good. Hey, I'm a big Tim McGraw fan too.
McGraw, yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Can't drop a sneaky acting performance in there, here and there.
He just plays himself though.
That's all right.
I was listening to a Bill Simmons thing on the way here, and they talk about Gabriel Byrne in Hereditary, and he's coming out with Gabriel Byrne's a shit actor because he's just himself in everything. And there's a bit to that, but Tim McGraw's the same. He's just himself. Take a cowboy hat off. Other than that, he's the same.
But a lot of actors are like that.
Yeah.
Their persona is pretty much them. I saw the Death Wish remake. There's some interesting ideas, and They do a
who's
couple of
leading
good
it?
things. Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis,
But
right, I heard
that's
this
the
earlier.
problem. He is the problem. And it's not necessarily the performance. It's simply because they try and show him as a surgeon who's never had a gun, never had involved in a fight.
Surgeon, Bruce Willis, surgeon, problem.
And then there's a couple of sequences where early on where he kind of gets, he's at a soccer game and there's a bloke being abusive and he kind of says, look, just calm down. The guy gets up in his face. And, like, having seen all these other movies, you just expect him to job them.
Yeah.
But then they're trying to make out like, oh, no, he's not a man of action.
Pacifist, yeah.
And then when he becomes a vigilante, you're just going down the route that his movies are. But they kind of, like, they don't...
There's no
stick
transition.
Well, there's no transition. To me, something like, even though it was a rubbish movie, Death Sentence, the one with Kevin Bacon, it's not a very good movie, but he's more credible as the guy that's not a gun-toting He-Man. And the same problem exists with the original Death Wish.
Yeah.
Is Bronson was the same. He was known for
Street
tough
fighting.
guy.
He's a mustache with fists.
Oh, yeah.
He could not act either.
So it was pretty average. I saw The Wedding Ringer. Kevin Hart. He wasn't bad in this one.
You just got to get the right
Went the
level of
right
Kevin
way,
Hart.
went the right way for me.
It's too much Kevin Hart. You get the right amount, it's probably okay sometimes.
It was okay, The Wedding Ringer. The Wall with John Cena.
Say that, yeah.
Really, really good until the end. The last bit is... I thought it was kind of stupid, but most of it in the lead up, it's a really tightly wound sort of phone booth style thriller, and it works for the most part. And the last one was, I watched a couple of episodes of a documentary series on Netflix called Time, the Khalif Browder story. It's produced by Jay-Z. It's about a kid he was a juvenile. He basically got done for stealing a backpack, allegedly stealing a backpack, but he had a previous felony charge, which meant he couldn't get bail because he was put in Rikers Island for like a year.
For stealing a fucking backpack?
Yeah, and it was just...
Wow.
I mean,
That's
like, just a bloody hell, basically, he was in. And it was really... The first couple of episodes have been pretty good. So, like most Netflix docos, they do a really good job. But, yeah, that's it. That's me. Jared.
So I finally got onto Gerald's Game on Netflix. Really good. Mike Flanagan just has a habit of really wringing every bit of tension and drama out of things that could possibly go pear-shaped. I look at that and I look at Hush and I think he's one to watch, I think. I actually thought it was really well done, the way they had, the whole thing about how Gerald dies, as everyone knows, and then how they have her hallucinating. Like, that's just, it's excellent. When she's talking to herself, when she's talking to him, like, yeah, really well done. Kept up on Westworld. A few things happening, which is good. Things have started to sort of take shape, but geez, this season just really feels a lot slower than the last one. And the last one was pretty drawn out.
Yeah.
It just held me a lot more than this. Like, this season I found myself a bit more kind of just wishing things would just speed up when we just get somewhere, because they're taking their time. But
hopefully it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, I'm still in. Like, the later episodes, as always seems to happen, you get around episode 6, 7, 8 and you start getting a bunch of twists, and still happy enough to follow along with that. I watched a bit of Young Justice, which they dropped on Netflix, so enjoying that. Fahrenheit 451, the remake with Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon. It's not great. The acting, obviously, with those two in it is really, really good. It's quite boring for something that's, for a book that's obviously dense with ideas, and they try to update the relevance of it by including things that are clearly social media influenced. And it doesn't quite work. But it's probably worth a look if you enjoyed that, the book and whatever, the previous iterations of it. I watched the final episode of Ash and Ash vs Evil Dead. Yeah, went out with a bang. I'm really sad that it's gone, but the way they finished it off, where it ended up, was a bit of a nod to some of the alternate endings they had for Army of Darkness. And if they hadn't gone with that for season 4, it would have been fucking incredible. But yes, sad that that's gone, because there really isn't anything like it on TV anymore. So I started Rick and Morty finally.
Yes.
Yeah, really enjoying that. I think I got through about 3 episodes. The episode with the Freddy takeoff was piss funny.
So good.
I just loved it when he couldn't find him and he's walking around like to every bin to the window going, "Found you, bitch."
And then he goes home and he's so dejected.
it was pretty good. I watched the entire season of The Staircase on Netflix.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Which was pretty great. That was always one that I'd been meaning to watch and never really watched. So to see the whole thing pieced together with new episodes was really cool. I think the bloke's guilty, but it was interesting to see because I felt he was guilty and the coincidences were too much. But his defence clearly had, his legal team clearly had their shit sorted and the DA didn't.
Yeah.
And the DA won. And they, you know, obviously it came out later that there'd been some pretty ordinary shit going on. And so whatever they'd done to get the conviction was going to be fucked up in the end if anyone found it out. But it was pretty incredible to see because I thought, like, it was really intriguing that I thought he was guilty, yet I couldn't refute the stuff that his legal team were putting out there.
Yeah.
And they were demolishing some of the people on the stand. Like, you watch the episodes and there's pretty significant amounts of people just getting destroyed, like the DA's witnesses just getting ripped apart by his defence team. So it was really interesting to see that despite what I felt about him, if I was on the jury, I don't think I could have gone with guilty.
No.
But that's the legal system in America. He just got fucked over, yet I still think he did it.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing for
really
me too,
weird.
is if the DA had their shit together, they would have done him in.
Yeah.
Because his story was ridiculous. It was crap.
Yeah.
It was rubbish. But his team had his
lawyer
back
was
covered
phenomenal.
and they really worked him over. And
But
I found him very unlikable.
Yeah. And he was financially destroyed. Like,
Yeah.
he's put everything into his defence and got everything he paid for.
Yeah.
But you know, in the end, everyone got fucked over basically. Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty phenomenal watch. Obviously, you know, same with something like Making a Murderer. There's obviously some other stuff around there that's not in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, from everything I can see, I think he was guilty. But yeah, phenomenal effort from his defence there. And lastly, I watched The Incredibles 2 yesterday. Great. I really liked it. They just continue on with the same sort of stuff they had in the first. It's a really interesting angle on stay-at-home dads and the female going back to work and female empowerment and stuff like that. It's a really good movie. So yeah, I just like the way that Pixar goes about it. They're not rushed into sequels most of the time. Something like Cars, they obviously were, but for something like The Incredibles, they just had no interest until they had a story, and yeah, knocked it out of the park, I thought.
That's you.
That's me.
Gibbo?
Very light for me, mate. I watched the new season of Archer on Netflix when that dropped. The way they've come up with a different way to attack an idea is basically Archer's in a coma, and the whole season so far, where I'm up to anyway, is him just having a dream about being basically in the 40s as like an old gumshoe sort of thing. It's so good, man. It's such a great show. Because I mean, you got to wonder what they're going to keep coming up with, and then they do that. Like, because the end of last season, he got shot and fell into a pool. So basically, he's in a coma now. So the whole, I don't know what happens at the end. I've done maybe 4 or 5 episodes in. I just love it.
Very clever.
Yeah, like Lamar, so
it's so good.
animated
man.
version.
Yeah, basically.
It sounds great.
And then the only other thing I really watched, I've done heaps of volume. I've just been rewatching all of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't
Classic.
get enough of it. It doesn't. I can watch those episodes. I could start one, finish it, and then start it again, and I'd still laugh at all the jokes.
Yeah.
There's just no missed notes anywhere in it. So I've just been rewatching all that with
Except for
Riley
Florida.
and the kids. The 3 episodes in fucking Pine, whatever it is, it's Coral Palms. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They're terrible. They're really bad.
They are, yeah, they are absolute low end.
Fuck, I was glad when it came back to normal after those 3.
Yeah.
It's because
Season
the rest
4
of the
might have
characters are not in them.
Yeah,
Not
they just lose all those dynamics.
Season 4 might have ended up being the one I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
After they got over that, it was just great.
Mate, they're all interchangeable for me. Like, they just never miss a beat, and you wouldn't go more than a minute without getting a good chuckle in somewhere with somebody. Like, it's awesome. And that's all. I've just been watching all that, so that's all for me.
Cool. I got onto Freddy 5.
Fuck.
Still working through it.
I still feel like Robert Englund is just like in a drama class, and he's just like showing people how to act the whole time.
So you listen to an audio commentary with Robert Englund.
He just talks fucking non-stop.
Yeah,
He's it's
interesting character.
It was pretty much exactly the same as the one previously, but they're just trying to find stupid ways for him to kill people. But yeah, it was alright. I've got my money's worth.
You're coming around. It's like,
Wait till you watch Freddy's Dead, man.
Yeah, that
is the absolute lowest end.
God. What have I done?
Lowest end.
I've got onto Warriors, the old flick.
yes, I love that movie.
The Warriors.
The Warriors,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I hadn't seen it, and what's his face is in it from
James Raymar.
Raymar. I don't know
Black
how
Lightning.
somebody becomes a worse actor with more experience.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But he
Warriors
manages.
is the only reason he's got a career, and he just went downhill from there.
He was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I was listening to a thing the other day about him. He's in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the sequel, because he plays Raiden.
As
He takes
Raiden.
over from
Christophe Lambert, I believe.
takes over Christophe Lambert.
When you are Christophe Lambert's Plan B, that's problematic.
I'm like, that's all you need to know about
When
Jack
you're
Dreamer.
Christophe Light, you've got
A
trouble.
bloke that can't think or speak, and you're the fucking replacement. And they're like, oh, we need to, Christoph didn't want to do this. We'll get this bloke. Not good. Sorry, Matty. As soon as I hear Remar, I get mad.
That's why I brought him up.
Yeah.
I got after Bojan Majanovic got announced as one of the arch nemesis or villains in John Wick 3. I went back and watched the first two. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a 7'3" center that plays for the Clippers now in the NBA, and he's a mutant of a human. So I can't wait. It's gonna be like Game of Death. Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens there. I hope he gets killed.
I just want him to grab someone's head. Like, just put his hand on their head. It's insane.
If he can hold them back and they're just waving their
He holds a
arms.
basketball like a tennis ball. It's like this. Yeah.
Giant human being, yeah, but they're full on. It's great action, and
But the first one's the best one, isn't it?
well, it's got. That's what I think. I felt,
Yeah.
The but just the fact that
I
it
actually
was,
thought 2 was better.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I like 2, but I like number 1 more. I just felt like the that whole thing of it's just such a simple thing. You killed my dog, and
Yeah.
follow that through.
That's cool, but I actually thought the whole expansion of the hotel in part 2 was fucking awesome.
The hotel is
whole
interesting.
hotel system.
I thought that became a bit extreme though, because it was like every single person that was on the street was a part of the hotel. You know, like
But there was parts of that in the first one.
Yeah.
Like it was already set up that way. So I'm like, if we're going with it, let's.
My issue with the second one was that
Yeah.
most of the action choreography is just the implausibility of just hundreds of blokes running at one dude instead of just fucking shooting him or throwing a grenade at him or something.
yeah.
I'm gonna
How
run
come
you so
nobody
you
has a
hit me
grenade
with your gun. Like, just fuck off.
Yeah, no one just goes
It
with the
frustrates
That scene with the
Or
cars.
rigs the whole building to blow. Just so, look, we'll lose a few of our own men, but it's collateral. Yeah, John Wick.
Get rid of the boogeyman.
Yeah, he's good. I like that. And I watched Hail Caesar, which is the Coen brothers.
Oh yeah, how was
seen
that?
that.
The newest flick. Yeah, it's great. Just the script is so good.
Isn't Dolph Lundgren briefly in that?
Missed him if he was.
Yeah, it was a
I don't know.
blink if you missed it sort of part, but I think he's in it.
No, it's got a lot of cameos
You
in
missed
it.
Dolph.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
that gigantic jaw.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm making an Adam-style prediction. Adam with Thomas Jane, Man of the 2000s. I'm calling Aquaman as Dolph's comeback. Aquaman is going to be good, and it's going to be Dolph's comeback.
Okay.
Everyone's going to want a piece. After
Apparently, Buzz is good for Aquaman.
Yeah, yes.
it's not.
No,
Yeah,
it is.
No, it has been alright, but
Some people were talking fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, but
There was like they weren't watching
that was people paid by DC.
No, but yeah,
it's
Don't
more
tell
Buzz.
that.
The Batman vs Superman one, you could read those Twitter things though and see somebody got paid to write that. Like, it didn't seem.
I guess it's
it
hard
seemed
to
like a
tell.
gem tell that.
Didn't seem organic, yeah.
I guess it's hard to tell with DC because they've had great buzz on other projects and then they've been absolutely shit house. So
It just needs to be
you've got
more-
to
more
take it with a
Wonder
grain
Woman
of
than
salt. But I've got
BVS.
more time for Aquaman than I would have for any of some of the other ones.
The difference between Batman, Superman, and Suicide Squad though was that was coming off like screenings and like
Yeah.
fake people on Twitter putting things out. Wonder Woman and Aquaman have both got it prior to all that shit.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
I'm confident.
That bodes well. Anything else?
That's me.
mate?
No,
That's you?
it's. I'm not going to mention the 90-day engagement. I am going to mention it.
Oh, Jesus.
So my wife's been watching this show, and I've tagged along and enjoyed it. But it's basically somebody who's a potential illegal immigrant coming over, and they've got 90 days to either get married or not.
Is this a game show?
It could be. It could very well be. But
Is this in the Netflix thing or is it?
No, I think it's on
Free-to-air
on
TV or
9.
something.
Yeah.
Is it reality TV? Like,
Yeah.
It's a reality TV show.
Oh my
It's
God.
horrible, and they've definitely they've cut it to give it a storyline. Like the dad says something slightly racist about the black girl, and they just emphasize it and go back to the same comment every time to just create conflict. But
reality TV can lick my nuts lately. That's it. Have you seen the one they're doing now? Dance.
The Dance Boss?
With Dance Boss?
The trailer came on yesterday. I'm like,
tradies or doctors.
well, I don't understand the concept. Because
They take random snippets of people from different trades and they go on a
the
dance
tradies
competition.
versus the public servant. So I'm like, what's going on
Mate, I
here?
saw that ad and Dad said, I just walked out of the room. I said to Rose, I said, you'll watch that too, won't you? Because she watches all this.
I don't know.
It's already hit parody. Just Tattoo of Us was the end of it. How can this actually be a show?
That Just Tattoo of Us one they got on YouTube with the bloke where he gets the
John
butthole for
McHale,
his belly button.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
good. Oh.
All right. Well, is that so? You don't want to go into anything further about 90-day engagement?
Was it? I needed to see if they got married.
You're a disgrace.
Did they?
Lots of them.
Did they get
I think it was
married?
5 out of 6.
Right.
Or no, 6 out of 6 got married, and one of them, the dude, just pissed off straight away. He was like, "Thanks."
Oh man.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about Saw.
Someone there? I can hear you. Who is that? Who's in there?
Hello, Adam. Dr. Gordon. I want to play a game.
The Jigsaw Killer.
Oh, find the path with a razor wire.
Technically speaking, he's not really a murderer. He never killed anyone.
Dr. Gordon, your aim in this game is to kill Adam. If you do not, then Diana will die.
He finds ways for his victims to kill themselves.
I'm sick of people who don't appreciate their blessings. I've given you a life purpose.
Looks like our friend Jigsaw likes to book himself front row seats to his own sick beams.
He doesn't want us to cut through our chains. He wants us to cut through our feet.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive. Not anymore.
You are a drug addict. Do you think that is why he picked you?
He helped me. Don't believe Adam's lies.
Live or die. Make your choice.
Saw from 2004, directed by James Wan, who gave us The Conjuring and the upcoming Aquaman. Produced by Mark Berg, Greg Hoffman, and Orrin Knowles. Orrin Knowles' producing credits include Dumb and Dumber, When Harry Met Lloyd.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's written by Lee Winnell, who wrote Insidious, and James Wan. It stars Carrie Elways as Dr. Lawrence Gordon, Lee Winnell as Adam Faulkner, Danny Glover as Detective David Tapp, and Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. The budget was a slim $1.2 million.
Wow.
And the box office was $103 million worldwide.
Yep, that'll get your career going.
Yeah.
Well done.
James Wan allegedly took a gamble and took no upfront salary for the movie and opted for percentage
On the back
instead.
end, did all right for himself.
Nice.
Very shrewd move.
Yep. Good gamble, that one.
Yeah. All right. Maddie, you want to go first? Give us your thoughts.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get
Score on
slammed
Saw.
here, but I liked it. I really liked it. The main guys, even though they've got their faults, they played off each other really well. There's some cool iconic horror, like the bike and the clown, the pig, I guess, the mask there. It's cool iconic stuff there. The kills are just entertaining. how they think about it, and ending was a good surprise. Just like all in all, I thought it was a pretty solid movie. It did get lost a little bit at times, but for me, I was a 4 out of 5.
4
out of 5. Gibbo?
Gee, okay.
Counter arguing?
not so much. Just 4 is fucking high.
Yeah, but I just felt like you have to. Obviously, the more you think about this movie, the shitter that score will get. But sitting there watching it,
he's already arguing.
Loved it. Let's tear it apart.
But sitting there watching it, like I was entertained, and maybe because it was off the back of watching the next movie we'll talk about. But I just loved it.
Yeah, so we were talking about this a little bit before. I just sort of remembered this being a lot more contained to the bathroom area. The stuff outside of the bathroom, I think, drags a bit. I think it's about probably 15 to 20 minutes too long, the whole movie. But it does have some really good setups. A lot of the kill setups and stuff. This obviously started off the whole like torture porn like craze where the horror movies went to. So I hate it for that. But other than that, like, it's very effective in some of the stuff that does. I just think there's some issues with some of the acting and some of the way that they actually set up the movie in terms of how it's like non-sequential, like time-wise. I think it's a little bit more confusing than it probably needed to be. It's trying to be probably too smart when it doesn't really pull it off. But other than that, like, for what it is, for what they made it for and stuff, it's really effective. So I'd probably give it a 3. So it's not far off yours.
I would agree with that. I think it's a really solid horror thriller, and the conceit of being chained to the toilet and forced to play a game is a really good one. The traps that are used throughout are extremely ingenious and quite brutal in execution, and the ending still kicks ass. I think the ending is still great. The problems are exactly what you said. Once it gets outside the toilet, it's kind of boring, and one directs pretty well, but then goes overboard with this over-kinetic style to probably mask some of the budgetary issues. Yeah. You can sort of see why they would have done it, but it takes away from it.
Yeah,
the film works best when they're in the toilet together. So yeah, I'm a 3 out of 5 guy.
Joe?
Yeah, I think it's probably a 3. I'm not going to be too harsh on Maddie though, because I think it holds up really well for the most part. I kind of disagree about the outside stuff. There certainly are portions of it that drag, but without that, it becomes like every other Saw movie.
Yeah,
that's not
you needed it. Yeah. You needed it.
Like, a lot of them are too focused on the traps, and so it was really cool to go back and see this and say, yeah, that's, for me, that's where the problems lie. This one actually focused on a couple of traps that were linked to the people's issues, and there was still a point to it. Whereas, once we get down to the next ones and we got fucking merry-go-rounds of shotguns with 6 people on them, and
that's shit.
Like, that's where it got lost. I think there certainly were parts of it where it was trying to, like there was almost, too many twists going on.
Yeah.
But the last 20 minutes is a cracker. Like, it works really well, the inside and the outside. That's where everything works together really well. Slight issue with Monica Potter and that being there again. They are literally there for nothing else other than for Carrie Elwes to get cranky and upset.
Yep.
But overall, I think James Wan does a really great job of stretching every little bit out of it, because early on there's some parts where there's nothing really. The major plot points are really slowly getting going, but you don't notice because he drags something out for 10 minutes and it works because those 2 guys in the bathroom contained in there are just, there's so much sort of tension, and they're just, erratic.
They do a good job of slowly revealing more and more about the people in there and how much information everybody has to give you something to keep you engaged, to you're taking sides. You've got this guy who you think's cool, calm and collected, but really he's made some shit decisions that are going to
I was a hair.
I
reckon I was a hair off a 3.5, but there was a couple of real big problems that I had, which will come out later on.
There are a couple of big problems. Look, to kick off the likes, as I said at the start, the actual idea of waking up in a dirty bloody bathroom, chained to the pipes, and then basically hearing those tapes to say that we're going to play a game. Essentially, you're pretty much going to die. You know it.
Only one of you's getting out, really.
He's straight in the action, though, because you think he's drowning. Like,
Yeah.
and it's such a good way to start the movie.
The pace of the movie to get going.
It gets
is great.
it brings up tension and things like that straight away. Like you, because you're immediately going, what's going on?
Yeah,
you don't know. You know as much as they do.
Yeah,
and so that start of it where they're finding each other out and not sort of understanding what's happening is really great. And as you said, the concept behind it is super strong. Like, you two are in here.
Yeah.
Your job is to do this. Your job is to kill him. And they don't know why each other are in there. And then, you know, the way that they start revealing that, and you've still got that tension of, I'm getting to know this guy and I don't want to kill him, but if I don't kill him, I might not get out of here.
Yeah,
all my family's in
drama
danger.
is just... It's
Maybe
great.
I've watched too many Freddy Krueger movies lately, but it just it doesn't start with everything being nice and dandy and then lead into something.
Yeah, straight into the shit.
And
we didn't have Lee Warnell rapping with 3 big units.
The Fat Boys.
But also, it's the perfect use of a single location to stretch a small budget as far as it could go. I mean, they could have made this for $200,000, and that still would have been an incredibly awesome location, an incredibly intricate storyline. Even if you took away half their budget, they could have still got it made. That's how well it's done.
How much Danny Glover and Carrie Ells actually cost them, because other than that, there's really not any names in it. Like, you'd think you could just plug in two other randoms into those roles and probably save yourself a heap of money out of one.
I mean, I'm assuming they would have done it pretty cheap, but they would have had to. Surely they were both accomplished, seasoned actors. You'd think they would have taken a decent couple of $100K.
I guess it's just you pay them that, and it's kind of earns you back in marketing, I suppose.
Yeah,
Danny Glover,
give you a little bit more credibility.
Yeah, it'll just get you in a few magazines, or you know.
That's right.
So it's very shrewd. I've got dislikes to both of them. But as far as selling a picture like this that cost stuff all, you needed somebody that everyone knew, and Danny Glover, for any performance issues he may have, everyone knows who he is.
Well, he carried the best Predator movie, so he's got a lot of credibility there.
Questionable.
Questionable.
Very questionable.
I still reckon it's a good movie.
It's not the best one, though.
Oh, no, Predator 2 is still a winner. It's
Are we
just
counting AVP? Because Predator 2 is clearly not the worst one.
Really?
It's not.
The ending,
the worst one.
The ending is fantastic. The actual bit that all comes to a head in that last couple of minutes, you never see it coming. I remember seeing it the first time and just thought, what?
Yeah.
You know, like...
I never, ever thought...
Considered it at all.
That what happened was
and it's a great rap to one that you don't even think about it.
Aside from the fact that guaranteed I'd have given myself away. Fuck, I got a cramp. Sorry, I can't hold this up any longer. Apologies for dragging you to this game, but I need to get up.
Listen, Jared, in all fairness, we all know you would fart.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Was that you?
Yeah, that's what you do.
It was
just let it linger. Those two are trying to figure out, you know, who's who. And then, was that you?
I think it was the dead guy.
Then again, corpses have been known to drop a bit of gas here.
Just a bit of gas.
Drop one and just still play dead.
That bloke put his hand in the turd.
Yeah, he's like, is there anything in there? You're nothing solid. Sorry, I'm not at that stage.
He pulls his hand out. You're not looking at him. It's just covered in fucking
It looks like what is it in Austin Powers? He's drinking the fucking coffee, and he's got like the mustache. I'm like, that's the exact same consistency.
But then it's like, you know, it's
a bit nutty.
But then it's in the cistern, isn't it? Yeah. Why'd you look in there first?
The heart is on the cistern.
I'm taking a chance that it's up high first before I dive into that.
What's Ian jokes? He goes, well, maybe I should have checked here first. Well, yeah, obviously, dickhead.
It's one of the lesser lauded traps that Saw sets up. He died of dysentery before he died of the gunshot.
Yeah.
Oh, you got hepatitis.
You've got a choice to make. You can open the cistern, or you can put your hand in a toilet bowl full of feces.
Yeah, before you leave this room, you're going to plunge that turd I left.
Do me a favour. Get a coat hanger and get in.
Is this one of your traps? No. That thing's been blocked up for weeks.
He's like, I've got a rental inspection coming. You're going to clear that shit before we're out of here.
And we've devolved into the shit jokes.
At least we didn't go to human centipede territory.
No. For some reason, the bit that always gets me is the idea that when they find the hacksaws, immediately coming to mind is you're going to have to cut your foot off, aren't you?
Yeah.
And all I could think about throughout the movie was, imagine having to do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Realising the only option is to actually hack your foot off.
Yeah.
That's the only bit that he sells, though, is when he finally just snaps and starts screaming.
Yeah,
and he's like, ah! That's the only bit that he
Actually,
does
it's
well.
not as gory as I expected, that bit. I remember that bit being... I was thinking... This is going to be super cringe,
Yeah.
But it cuts away, basically, from
You're just looking at his face, aren't you?
Yeah, from the major part.
Yeah, and the blood
So
squirting.
effective, though. Like, that's the only thing the main thing that you remember. Like, I remembered barely anything watching it back.
I remember that and the one where Shorty snapped the jaw thing.
Yeah, that thing.
Because I just remember, imagine what that would do to your head. Like, that would be bad. Very bad.
And that's another key, like, for me, is the traps.
The traps, yeah.
Look, a bloke with stage 4 brain cancer, I don't know how he's getting this shit done, but...
A lot of time to think.
But these ones are far more acceptable. They're not so... the rotating shotgun.
Mate, by Saw 2... fucking Bruce Wayne is watching the Saw movies going, where does this guy get the money to do all this at the time? This is the only one in the series where it's conceivable. It's a stretch, but it's conceivable that one guy could do this.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of planning and a lot of stuffing around.
Some luck on his side.
It's a bit of luck on his side, a few coincidences, but by 2 and 3 and 4, every movie was playing catch up because of the stupid shit the ones before did, and then they eventually were looking at it going, one guy couldn't do this, and then they're like, fuck, 3 people couldn't do this. By the end of it, we've got a fucking cult going.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, this is the only one where you can actually buy it, and it's one where, so he's got the issue, he's the one that's losing his life, and so the issues of you aren't valuing your life, so I've put you in this trap and you got a choice to make, that's great. That's really good.
It's good motivation.
And there's still, with all the grotesque shit he does, there's still this hint of...
If you get out of this,
there's some sympathy for him because of the situation that he was in, but it's beyond from 2 and 3 on, like 2 onwards, it's just like, fuck, this is just ridiculous, you know. But this one's not, and the concept works, and all the traps are related, so it's like.
Did anyone see Jigsaw?
Yeah, I see.
Is it also shit?
Possibly. Oh,
It hasn't
no,
exactly
I didn't mind it. I
franchise.
enjoyed it, but it's there's nothing in it that you haven't seen in any of the other Saw movies.
Yeah.
And it's fucking gigantic traps. It's fucking rooms with walls that do shit that would take people fucking years to build. But this guy's managed to fucking chain it together.
He managed to get someone in a trap. I haven't got the trap ready just yet. Come back in a couple of years.
Yeah, but look, by the time he's got some of the traps together in the later movies, it's like, okay, sorry, but, you know, these 6 people you picked, that one's left the country, that one's died of natural causes already, so you missed your chance. Like, it's just inconceivable.
Yeah.
But even that head trap thing, like, where do you go to get that fabricated? You just go down to the local welder, like, can you just knock this up for me? No
questions.
000, like, you'd be straight on the phone to the police.
But then to counter that, you've got a tripwire with just 7 shotguns on the
that one's
to the
plausible,
roof.
yeah.
Like, that one's sensible.
And he just had them stuck there with like duct tape and like clips and stuff. Like that's like a Home Alone.
But all the traps were extremely kind of twisted.
Yeah.
The way they did them.
Yeah, because
like,
you were doing stuff to yourself.
Here's the guy crawls through the barbed wire to get to the door.
Yeah.
And he's basically hung up on the barbed wire. Yeah. That it's just gouged out his guts and everything by the time he's got a fair way. You know, they sort of say he got a hell of a lot further than we expected.
Yeah.
And then you got the one with the guy waking up in the nude, covered in flammable liquid, glass on the floor, no shoes. He's got a little candle.
It's called the John McClane.
And he's got to open the safe. The code is on the wall, covered in thousands of numbers. So basically, you may as well just set yourself on fire because you got no chance. You got no chance of getting out of that. So there's a real twistedness to them. But I agree with you. We hadn't yet reached the territory of, I need a small crew to put this together.
For this, and the thing was, they actually went to the effort to say this guy was found, this one person was found in this one trap that had been constructed and then Jigsaw's done it again later. He's had time to find somebody else, find another target.
And he's just knocked someone out and put them in the trap.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. It's not, 6 people and 6 people that seemingly have no reason to be there and to be, or have, very tenuous links to actually being there.
Yeah.
But what was the go with the bloke with the drills going into his neck that they end up saving? Was it?
He was just a random.
He was just
They
there.
didn't explain why he was there.
He was just there.
Yeah.
He was just in his house. He must have...
Because he said something about he was using him as a test subject, he was just practicing the contraption on him, he was going to use him as practice and then do a real one.
Isn't that in one of the sequels, that same trap?
I can't even remember, to be honest.
I just know the drill thing was
I have seen every
the
one of them.
cover photo for the Hostel movie was the drill going down into the person.
Right. Yeah, but I just think the traps are all cool. And the one where she's got the reverse trap and she has to cut the guy open, but he's alive.
Yeah.
That's
no wonder she's
horrible.
traumatised.
Horrible.
Yeah, you can imagine, as you said, the bloke that he got to knock it up for him. Just a bit of small talk. What are you planning on doing with this, mate?
I'm going to stick it on some chick's head and make her cut another bloke's guts open to get a key out there and get her head. Yeah, no worries. I'll
sounds good.
Hey, did you imagine him being interviewed by the cops? How did you mention it? The guy asked me to make a reverse trap. He mentioned he was going to rip
someone's head?
Its head off.
Like a boiled egg?
Does that help you anyway?
We spent the day in this room hanging barbed wire from one end of it to the other. I just thought the bloke was into something fucking, interesting stuff in there. But
that scene reminded me when they were interviewing. I don't remember what her character's name, but Shawnee Smith. That reminded me of when they're interviewing the bloke from Seven that has to do the dildo thing.
Yeah.
Very similar. They've obviously been forced to do something that's just broken them.
Yeah,
and they both actually play it off pretty well.
He's screaming. And
Yeah, but he's shaking. He's in shock. That guy really sells it.
Yeah. I think James Wan does a very good job for a first-time director. We're talking very little money. I think he'd made a couple of shorts prior to this.
they made a short of this too, didn't they? To sell it.
A really interesting, somewhat complicated plot that could go to shit if you didn't direct it well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of balls in the air at different times, that could go very
Plus, you have to plaster over some of the problems.
Yeah.
And he actually does that because the direction is quite solid. Look, there are problems with it, and that's what I was saying before. We'll get to, but I think as far as first-time efforts, there's a fair bit of style, and there's quite a bit of ingenious stuff to keep it moving without you going, now come on, pointing at bits of it, pointing out that couldn't possibly be there, or so that's a bloody good job for a director, I think.
Yeah.
We mentioned it sort of earlier on, but the iconography, the jigsaw puppet.
Yeah,
that was just everywhere for a while, and it's creepy. You see that, and you're like, "Yep, no, I don't want to look at you anymore."
Yeah,
that's a horror movie. Yeah,
you got that. You got the foot cutting off part. You've got the pig with the long hair mask. That's just creepy. Pig faces are creepy, man. I don't like them.
Especially that sequence where he's using his camera to light up his apartment, and then it just suddenly comes out of the.
But every single time the flash goes off, you're here it is. No, it's not that one. You're just always on the edge of your seat. That's a really good sequence. Really, but all that stuff is just so creepy, and it lasts. Even now, you see the thing for Jigsaw, and it's just that same puppet.
Even the voice on the tapes.
Yeah.
Is kind of creepy.
The way it's distorted.
The way he talks. It's just a lot of nice, iconic moments, which is part of creating a horror franchise, is to get people to remember the key points, so you can either come up with a new film or something like The Exorcist. You never ever forget those key moments.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the mark of a really good horror film.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was surprised the cop gets killed. When they turn up to the lair and Danny Glover gets his throat cut and it kind of threw me a little bit. I've forgotten about him getting killed.
Yeah.
And it kind of raises the stakes a bit because once again it's showcasing that Jigsaw, you had him. You actually had him.
But he was ready.
And then he got out of there because he was actually ready for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a massive dislike about that sequence.
Me too.
But taking him out of the game was a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
And Glover actually getting
I thought
slashed
Glover was gone too, yeah.
You didn't know what... You thought he was done.
Yeah.
So when the other cop's running, it was really well played because you thought he's finished. So when the other cop's running, you're thinking, this guy's going to take the charge now.
Yeah.
Then Glover starts stumbling. Boom, the other guy's gone.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it was a bit of that was part of where James Wan was really succeeding. Like he was keeping you on the edge with things like that.
Taking your expectations and turning them on their head in a lot of different ways too. So
Yeah.
I think he did a good job in general of that. Even things like the orderly, like he's a creepy dude, but when I was watching that, I'm like, that's just to show that the doctor's a dickhead.
Yeah.
And then he comes back, obviously later on as being an accomplice.
I mean, kind of no surprise a little bit, but reasonably well covered because you don't necessarily think of him.
Yeah, same thing with the training doctor, the Asian girl. You're like, they're having an affair. The first I watched it, he's like, oh man, they're doing a good job of making him look good. Like, but he comes back and it's actually they're having an affair.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cool. There's all these relationships going on, and
they'll
give you something. They'll give you a little bit. They'll give you a little bit, and then they'll bring.
And I also like the fact that Adam and Dr. Gordon they play off each other. They're in that situation. Is, as you say, one of them has got to die. But they have that shared history, and that slowly comes out.
Yeah.
And I thought it plays out well because early on, you kind of, when you first saw the film, you just kind of like, why is this guy in the toilet with this other guy?
Yeah.
What's the connections here? How does it work?
Don't know any.
And they don't give you any of that until midway through, probably. They start slowly offering you why there's a connection between them. And I like that. I thought that was
their relationship changes so much from at the beginning they don't know each other and it's like, let's try and be sensible, let's try and figure it out, to, oh, you've got secrets, I know you've got secrets, to, I know all these things about you, you figure all that out, and then they're realising the clock's counting down and they're both stuck.
And they've got to try and work together possibly to get out, you know, like...
And there's just panic.
It does a bit of nice sort of...
There's arcs to the relationships and to how each character's going in that. I did like that.
Other likes?
The end twist. I don't actually like the end, but the end twist when the corpse gets up in the middle of the room. Like, I remember first watching this when it first came out, and I remember I was in the cinema. I was already in there first, and the whole cinema was just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Because at one point I actually thought it was the other corpse. I thought it was the bloke that he bashed on the head of the thing. I'm like, there's no way that bloke's getting up after that.
Yeah.
And then you realise, oh no, it's the one that's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
That's just a really good twist because it, as a corpse in the middle of the room, like, it'd be uncomfortable to be there with it. You wouldn't look at it. You'd sort of, not want to pay attention. So it's plausible that he could pull that off and just be there the whole time.
And they actually foreshadowed. I didn't remember him doing it, but you got him on the scene saying, "This guy likes to watch. He likes to watch what's going on.
Yeah,
he likes.
And
to,
then they give you
to take a front row seat.
They give you the bait and switch though by the camera.
Yeah, the camera.
They show
but
the
he's
camera.
actually right in the mix
right
the
there,
whole time.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely ingenious.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really true.
That was my favourite part of the whole movie.
And that's how they sold it. That short would have been the toilet, and that ending would have just had producers going, brilliant.
Yeah, that's
brilliant.
The murderer's in the room with him the whole
it.
time.
Yeah.
He's pulling all the strings.
So you said you didn't really like the end in general. I actually thought the last 10 minutes was the way you described it, as they got a lot of balls in the air. I think that's where they had kept them all up there.
Yeah.
Basically, that was the part where all those little bits that didn't seem to be linked had started to come together, and it was just ramped up. That last 10 or 15 minutes just flew.
I'm talking about specifically like that last end bit when he closes the door and Adam's still in there. Old mate's out there crawling out with his leg cut off. He's probably going to kill him, and he's just going to leave Adam locked in there.
I thought you meant the end of the series, part 7. I was going to agree with you on that one. That was a real stretch.
I have watched 0 more Saw movies.
Is that the 3D?
You have to.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
You are not the boss of me.
No.
You're not watching more.
Adam's brother.
Right?
Punch through
Adam's
the whole
brother,
series. It's on
Luke,
Netflix, I think.
we would bag the shit out of Luke because I'd seen Saw 3 and I just said that was the worst fucking film I've seen in a long time. Luke goes and sees Saw 4 and he's like, check it out, brilliant. They actually fixed Saw 3. And we started cracking up and we were basically said to his face, you're an idiot. And he goes, no, I'm sticking with that. Lo and behold, we watched Saw 4 and we're like, he's fucking right. They did actually fix it.
The problem is every like 4 fixed 2 and 3.
Yeah.
There was all these mistakes in 2 and 3, and 4 sort of answered them questions and made them plausible. 5 is absolute
Put
turd.
all over it again.
6 then retcons and fixes 5.
6 was pretty good. 7.
2 movies to fix 7.
Yeah, well, I think they've 7. They finally just went, fuck it, reboot. Jigsaw. We've got a new script here. Jigsaw sounds good.
Any other big likes? Key likes?
I got some little ones.
Yeah.
Lawrence is in the like he's obviously in one of the most stressful moments. The phone's finally ringing, and his wife picks it up, and he's like, "Ali," he's just been like yelling his head off, and
you
bastard, Ali.
That scene when the phone's ringing, though, when they're trying to get the cassette recorder out of the corpse's hands, the first thing the doctor says is use your shirt. When you're never going to be able to get that thing out. But then when the phone's sitting on the tiles, he's got a button-up shirt on. All you have to do is take that off, flick it over the phone and pull it in, and he doesn't even do it.
Rather cut my foot off. Easier.
Can I get the phone and cut my foot off? Well, I'll cut the foot off, and then maybe I can get it.
But I think part of that is he was just at a point where he was so desperate.
Yeah. And they actually did well to get there. As much as I said, his wife and daughter were just pawns in the whole thing.
Yeah.
His acting performance actually built. I should actually give Carrie Elwes the like, because I think he's the only one in the cast that actually really holds it together the whole way. Okay, he's got a couple of down spots, but in terms of the whole movie, he's consistent and delivers
he's so
a really
good at the beginning
performance.
of just being that calm, steady voice. And just to see him descend into, I'm going to cut my own fucking foot off. It's
look,
he's the one.
As far as acting performances go, he is the best. But
who is?
Yeah, he is the best of
damn.
a bad bunch, because
can't
it's
get
a
aboard
bad, it's a very
terrible.
bad bunch. The acting is
the bloke who plays Adam
is terrible.
Is that the same
well,
way?
he's one of the writers. He just sort of didn't have any money to hire another actor, so he's like, I'll give it a crack.
I thought he was like,
Yeah, so-
I'm not going to make this movie unless I'm in it. I thought that was one of his conditions.
Yeah, well, I think
He shouldn't have been in it.
So the dislike, he's got some good moments too, but his performance is really uneven. You can tell he's inexperienced.
Yeah.
Danny Glover, motherfucker,
So bad.
this is the worst he has ever been.
Yeah.
Monica Potter is dreadful.
But she's not very good in anything, ever.
Oh, but she's
Cameron
there was actually
Poe's wife?
No, terrible.
Come on!
but yeah,
Bird.
We're at the dislikes now, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, that his family at home, I can understand why he's having affairs. They are so boring.
It's one of those ones, he got married, she was pretty, and he's like, oh wow, she's actually got nothing behind anything.
the
Like,
funniest is when he's bursting out of the house and she has a line of something about at least there'd be some passion in it, and I'm thinking, take your own advice, love. Your acting performance, because it's just awful. It is awful.
And the thing that
so
shits me is
Yeah.
I can't give Lee Winnell a pass, because quite frankly I thought he was awful. Like awful.
I actually thought he was okay for parts, but he had some really ordinary
Danny Glover,
stretches.
I
Danny
expect
Glover
more
is-
from Danny Glover. I expect more from Monica Potter. These are seasoned people. They've done film. Like, what the hell are they doing?
Monica Potter, though, is in the James Remar thing where I'm just like, how do you keep getting gigs?
Yeah.
He's got a good head.
But
Not a good head.
but Kerry always is better, but down the end, there are times when he gets to that bit that you said, where he picks up the phone, he's fucking hopeless.
But see, that part was really, for me, the only part where he had a few misfires. Once he starts cutting his leg and he's crying and shit, he's
that's
really
all
good.
fine.
That
Yeah,
is really good.
When he snaps, it's all fine.
Whereas
It's all
1L,
going.
1L has a couple of those screaming moments where he's on point, but at other times it's just so uneven. He's just, at the start, he's got these yelling bits where you're like, what the fuck is that? That's like overacting to the max.
Yeah.
And then a couple of parts where he's got to act confused, and he's just hasn't got it.
To me, I wouldn't have hired Danny Glover. I would have,
and then when I saw his performance, I would have said, why did I hire Danny Glover?
I would have hired another better actor to be in the toilet with Carrie Elwes.
You're going to go back and listen to some of the lies you've said in this podcast. Look, the movie's at its best when the two blokes are in the toilet.
But yeah, the two guys chained up. I think Carrie Elwes does his best. You needed a better seasoned actor in the other role.
Yeah.
And I don't care if Lee Winnell wrote it, fucking produced it. I don't care. He should have just been told, no.
Oh, it's clearly a
The
bunch of
problem
idiots.
is, when he starts it off with, what's your name? Very fucking confused. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, it's a bit forced.
Your budget though, Danny Glover's about as best you're getting for your budget. And if Danny Glover's name comes across your desk with the
You're
price
taking
they
it.
had, you're taking it.
I know it straight away.
But what I'm saying
he
is,
was in it.
It would have been
Yeah.
nice. It would have been good if they could possibly found someone else, not Danny Glover, because I wouldn't have put
Why?
Danny Glover
Because
in
Glover's got the chops.
Yeah, but
I don't know what he was doing. He just because in other movies, it's not like Danny
Could
Glover's
you
a
put
bad
Danny
actor.
Glover as the other
That's what I was going to say. Put
protagonist
him in the other.
in Chained Up?
Put him as Adam.
I mean, he was bloody bad, but would he have been any better chained up?
I think that would have been worse.
I just don't think that
It was so
I
bad.
don't think anyone was taking it seriously. I think Lee went if it was.
It could not have gotten worse.
I just think
What
those
do you
two
do?
boys are right.
Glover is he's just out. Like, I can see what one would have been between a rock and a hard place. What's his marquee name? He can't tell him, you're fucking hopeless. Like, say to him, I've watched all the dailies, you're shocking. We need to do all this again.
They might have.
But he's sitting there thinking, I can't do that.
They might have had 10
I
hours
just
of
can't.
footage of Glover and just gone, we're going to cut this back to 3 minutes.
Glover was the main character. Fuck, we got to run an audible. What are these two blokes in the bathroom doing in that trap? Stressed out.
The original cut was all about Glover.
His descent into being obsessed with this serial
It
killer.
was called Sword My Throat or something like that. They're like, oh, shit.
Saw on tap, double P.
It was
double P.
No, just sore throat. You were nearly there. He's got a sore throat.
The worst part of the whole bit is when he's watching through the window and he's fucking mumbling to himself.
Yeah.
Oh, doctor.
He's got newspaper clippings. He's rambling around his mind.
He'd been on the case for so long.
That's where the non-linear storytelling bit gets real hazy too. When he's
part
sort
was
of
hazy,
doing that, and
yeah.
it's like, so hang on, is he the killer or is he just like he's when Zeb is in the window and he's
Yeah.
saying, oh, what's going on?
It's
here?
clearly
You're a
not the
cop, you're not
doctor.
a
And he's
cop.
there going, oh, doctor, yeah, doctor. No, that's not the doctor.
No, he says, who's in your house, doctor? Because he knows
Oh,
he's
that's
not
right.
there, yeah.
Good God.
Part of it is, though, that
I
he's
think
lost his mind. They've seen him
but-
discharged because he's...
Yeah.
Danny
Are you supposed to
Glover,
act better when you're
this is
crazy?
it. Danny Glover is a guy who's been around the traps. You're telling me it's like he didn't know what acting was.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Traumatised.
I think you nailed it there, Gibbo. Like, it was...
Probably.
To me, it was
Low budget.
supposed to be...
Low rent.
That was supposed to be the first inkling of, red herring. You think this bloke's the killer, but then there's another red herring, blah, blah, blah. But they dropped that one pretty quickly, so it just became kind of, why did we do that?
Yeah.
And then it's just more of Danny Glover mumbling. It doesn't really carry things through very strongly.
Can you guys clear something up for me? So the first scene, you see Adam under the water. How did he not drown? Because he's clearly been sedated
Sleep.
to be under the water.
Well, Jigsaw's just dropped him in. The lights are off, so he's just dropped him in, and then
Jigsaw's
back to the door.
laid down on the floor. I don't understand how they got.
They cut the line where Lawrence said, "Was that you that dropped your guts before you went under the water?"
What's happening in there? Who's moving around in there? You see water splashing in it.
Because Kerry always, like, he's just sitting on the floor. Like, he could just be chained up, wake up from his sedative.
Was
and
he
he's
breathing
fine.
through his ass or something? Because you're right.
Yeah.
He should
He's
be just
laying at the bottom of
dead.
the bath. He just drowned to death. Like, he'd die.
It's true.
It's very
It's just
strange.
me put in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get that bit anyway.
Yeah, what's with these bloody footprints on the floor? It looks like someone's actually just dropped me in the bath. It might have been this bloke that's laying on the
But
ground.
when like gets out of the shower, this is wet footprints up the hallway. While we're on Kerry, always though, he dead set looks like one of the fucking marionettes from like Team America. His makeup is so bad. The blonde eyebrows, the shit doll hair.
It looks like
It's horrendous.
His makeup gets
later
worse
on in the
and worse.
movie. Yeah,
when he's
later on
when he's
blue.
cut his foot off and he's basically meant to be like pale.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's just
He looked like one of the Lost Boys.
Someone just threw cornflower at him. Wet your face through cornflower.
yeah, just sort of going.
He's one step away from being a kabuki prostitute. The makeup is that bad.
It is. It's really bad. There's also bits where the boys, like, obviously they go through stages where they panic and stuff, but at one point they're both just sitting down, like, you're on a time limit, there's a fucking dead bloke on the ground with his brains blown out as far as you know, and they're sitting there just chatting about, like, they're just small talking. I'm like, sorry guys, like,
Let's get a move on, fellas.
yeah, I'd maybe be either a bit more panicked or maybe sticking to the issues at hand, like, oh yeah, no, what have you been up to? Oh no, the weather's nice today. Like, they're just sort of having a little yarn. That's
Yeah.
It seems very strange that you would do that. I don't think I would be doing the same thing anyway.
When I talked about James Wan's direction and I said it was really good, the stuff that was negative to me was it gets over stylised at times.
Glover driving the car.
Yeah, they did that. They did that in a warehouse with just two non-moving cars with a bit of smoke around. And people shaking the vehicle. And some of that stuff, there's the circling cameras, the pulsating fucking new metal music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just like too much. You've
Sometimes
gone
it
overboard.
works. Like there's parts of it. Prime example is the bloke in the barbed wire trap.
Yeah,
where that really works.
He's trying to pull through and it's
speed
done
it
really
up.
fast. And
And then they just cut slowly and like it looks in that one like a trapped bloody insect or bug or something. Shaking really frantically. And
But then there's the other ones
parts where it just
going in
doesn't.
circles and the heads are going boom, like this.
Yeah,
And it's just kind of like you've overdone it.
Too much.
You've got a really good concept that doesn't require all this. Plus, do you notice how much of the footage they reuse to give you the flashbacks? Like, we're 35 minutes in, Danny Graham, the mumbling idiot's up in his room, and he's got all the newspaper clippings, and then we get a 2 minutes worth of flashback footage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we didn't need a repeat of 35 minutes of footage. We just watched.
If it's not flashback footage, it's someone looking and then hearing in the voice in the head of, like filling in the flashback. There's a lot of Jigsaw, saying something, or there's a lot of rewinding the tape and hearing Jigsaw saying something 13 times before it. Something.
I got it. Something. The pennies dropped. Yeah. It's just for a movie. I initially thought
follow your heart or whatever while he's looking at the toilet. We got it.
I remember thinking they only just got to 90 minutes. Like I thought the movie was only 90 minutes long, and maybe all that padding. All that flashback stuff was to pad to 90 minutes. But then I look at the thing, it's an hour 45, and I'm thinking, you didn't need all the padding then.
No.
So why is it there?
It would have been...
there's some poor choices there.
Certain parts, like early on, when there's not a lot of major things going on, but the two guys are trying to figure out what's happening, and they're saying, I've got a key, chuck it here. Like, that stuff works. And he stretched out things quite well, but then... the outside stuff, and I disagree that I didn't think, you guys said you didn't think it worked at all, really, but I thought parts of it did, but the outside stuff you could have cut down. I think that's where you could have cut.
That's the issue, it's not
to me, no, it wasn't it didn't work.
That's Danny Glover sitting there looking at his wall going...
It worked, you needed it. You could not make that movie in that bathroom for 90 minutes. It would have been the most boring thing you'd ever laid eyes on. You needed the outside, and... I didn't hate it,
too long, though.
But to me, it was less compelling. Whenever they got outside the toilet, I felt I wasn't as compelled. But I understood why you needed it.
Adam's abduction story just took too long as well. I felt like that could have been cut.
And the problem is, all that flashback stuff and hyperkinetic bullshit is all outside the bathroom.
Yeah.
Everything in the bathroom feels like a tight thriller. But then outside you've got this over-stylised crap, and you've got all this new metal, and you've got all this bullshit that goes on.
Yeah.
That, yes, you should have put... I reckon they could have cut down 10. 10 out of it. Danny Glover, your role's going from 15 minutes to 6.
The tap's gone. It's just song. Look, we've got to cut out the gunshot trap, or we've got to get a new partner or something to fall into that gunshot trap, because we can't lose this guy now. Danny's forced it upon us.
Do you think they said, look, we've got Danny for 2 days, and Danny comes back and goes, I've actually got room for 4.
I've got ideas.
There
I've got
going,
some ideas.
Oh, gee, that's great. Oh, is it my phone ringing?
Yeah, Danny, look, I don't think... Yeah, look, I'll be on set tomorrow. Like, it just felt that Danny Glover, a guy who... I mean, is Mel Gibson doing all the heavy lifting in the Lethal Weapon movies? Is that what we're led to believe?
Yes.
Because Danny's never been this bad.
No, I don't think so.
He's really good in the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah.
It's just...
I'm not sure.
It's just all over the shop.
So I've got one dislike about... And it works really well for the movie, the way that Adam's story of taking the pictures comes out and plays after I've got to kill this guy, but I kind of want to figure out a way to get out together, but then hang on a minute, you've been taking photos of me, and that's going to start turning the wheels a little bit. Why doesn't he just say from the get-go, I don't know why we're in here, but I was paid to take photos of you? Do you reckon that might have something to do with it? Oh, it was a bloke with his... Oh, it's Tap. Yeah, we're working through this earlier. We don't even need to listen to the tapes to start finding connections here.
The fact that Jigsaw can think far enough ahead to put a note in the wallet... Like he's foreshadowing that the doctor's going to be like, I miss my wife. When he's trying to figure out how to escape.
That's where the suspension of disbelief meter gets a little bit too far.
Got a little bit of that.
But again, it doesn't hurt the film greatly because...
it doesn't.
you sort of don't even think too hard about
It's
it.
good direction because you don't think about it while it's happening.
That's where my score comes from. Because like I said, when you sit and you think, it gets worse and worse the more you think.
So you're
about
currently at 2.5.
Well, it's
You can't be having 4.
The makeup at the end just knocks a point off. But as you're watching it, it's like it's entertaining, keeps you watching. Like there's stuff happening the whole time.
You're not stopping to think about that sort of stuff because you're in the sort of frenetic pace with those guys.
You're trying to break down exactly what's happening. You know that there's herrings or whatever around, but you're trying to figure out what.
Speaking of Adam taking photos, there's one that's absolutely piss funny where he's following him and he's in a hotel room, a hotel corridor, and honestly, he's about 3 metres away. And he's like,
that's right.
It's like, so you did not see him. Is that what you're telling me? You didn't see him.
Doesn't he say in the car park? You didn't see me taking photos? Like he's like
no, but it's because he takes a photo when he's doing this. And you see that, like, as if you wouldn't see the flash, and you hear this.
He's taking them at the most inopportune times. Yeah, that's right. He's using Polaroids. No, he goes to develop them later.
The loudest camera on earth.
Yeah,
when he's in the house,
he might as well have said cheese before he took the photo.
Dr. Gordon, no, here. Look this way.
In an abandoned car park when there's no noise around. Abandoned car park, dark, so the flash is going to attract more attention, and then
and it flashes
here's my chance. He's rubbed his eyes,
and it flashes over to him, and he's just pressed up against the wall. It's like you're not hiding.
You want to talk about pressing up against something? When Danny Glover's having the shootout with Zepp, he comes in, he starts shooting at him, and then he sees like there's like a red like post, and he goes sideways behind, like just trying to hide, and his guts is hanging out.
The funniest part is he can't fit anything behind it. You see his backside's hanging out one side, the guts and knees are on the other side. He's kind of arched. His whole head's almost sticking out.
Can't see me. Can't see me. I had a big problem with that gunfight too. Like Danny Glover comes in there, supposedly
gets the drop on him, mind you. As soon as he's blowing his brains out.
Old mate's laying on the ground stationary, and Danny Glover empties a clip and misses the bloke every single fucking time. Monica Potter with a pair of scissors is better than this supposed cop with a gun.
You have a tap. By that stage, he'd gone into full go spit rigs mode, you know. He's fucking mumbling during the gunfight.
I had a problem with Jigsaw in that scene. Why is he wearing a cape? Why is he wearing a cape?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you look at it and you think the pig mask and the cape and all that sort of stuff really looks good, but then when you think about it, it's like surely you could have just got a hoodie without a flowing cape at the end.
He's wearing it around the house,
and when he's
torture people in my cape.
And when he's got the cape on, you look at it and you notice that he's got the red trim. It's like a boxing thing. He's had that custom made somewhere.
He just looked like the Meatloaf from I'll Do Anything for Love. Oh, that's what I kept thinking. I'm like, Meatloaf's on the move again.
Then you saw Danny Glover and it confirmed it.
I was talking to Adzi before you got here, Jared, about when the two blokes have got to transport items between each other. Not one of them can throw or catch.
No.
That's part of 5 feet. Like 5 feet.
Here, catch this.
At one point, he does this little toss with the cassette player. He tosses it like at knee level, and then Kerry always catches at the other end, like overhead, like it's been pegged at him. And
when bloody Elwes is throwing things, like, mate, that's got poo on it now. I'm not bloody touching that. Throw it to your hands. Here, you goose.
But honestly, not one thing is caught.
No,
they drop everything.
Yeah, I think 1L actually watches them a couple of times. He doesn't even put the hands out. He just watches them hit the...
Watch it bounce.
And watches it, go right... The key goes right next to the toilet bowl.
Yeah, that could be your salvation, but don't fucking put your hands out and catch it with you. God.
I talked before about them probably starting to panic at the wrong time. Kerry always has been given a clear directive that his wife and daughter will be murdered if he doesn't kill this other bloke by 6 o'clock. I'm panicking before 6 o'clock. He watches, we're out of time. Well.
Yeah,
and then the phone rings and then he loses it. Like, there's no reason not to think that this bloke's dead.
Mate, I cut my foot off hours ago.
5 o'clock, I'm in full-blown moral crisis and I'm probably heading that direction.
I am cutting my foot off.
But you know, look, we're out of time, and he looks up and goes, only seconds left.
Yeah, I'm not going waiting until it's right at the end to cut my foot off.
Wife and daughter are dead, then that's fine.
This bloke's not serious. He hasn't shown anything yet. There's no way to suggest he's serious.
Maybe it was on purpose. Like, I don't really like him that much.
I think he's like his daughter.
Just that we had some problems. Me and my wife have had problems recently.
He should have just said to Jigsaw, look, mate, I'll tell you what, I'll do your deal. Just leave the daughter, but if you get rid of my wife, I won't dob in.
I'll really appreciate my wife a lot more.
Yeah.
When Danny Glover is fighting with Zeb when they're in the wrestle, why the fuck is he trying to point the gun back at the bloke's face when he's directly behind him? All the bloke does, he goes, ha-ha, and just drops down, and Glover shoots himself in the chest.
Yeah, look,
Or you have to turn it sideways,
Yeah.
not back towards your face.
I'm throwing a knee in the thigh too. Corky, I'm getting everything, but he's just
bashed the bloke
focused
on the
on.
ground. He's throwing him around like a rag doll, and now all of a sudden, you know what I need to do? Point this gun at my face.
Yeah,
I'm watching that sequence, and I'm just like, I can't deal with this. This is stupid.
Well, that's not the worst decision Tat made in the movie. The worst decision was the sequence that you said you really liked, and I agreed. The gunshot thing, but the opening when they're in his joint and they find the guy with the fucking screws there, and Tap says, "Let's see what he's going to do," and they're hustling off to hide in the corner. I'm like,
I know what he's going to do.
it's a bloke sitting there with 2 drills in his temples, you fucking idiot. We know what he's going to do.
I'm 100% he's going to drill this bloke's neck. Wait.
Hold. I don't know what he's going to do yet.
He hasn't fired it up. Look, he's got a collection of drill bits over there. He might change it before he...
You can cut to Daddy going, well, would you look at that? That guy's going to get his head drilled in.
Sorry, Zingy, you're all right, mate.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
You'd be it.
But yeah, that decision gets his throat cut.
And Sing
killed. Lets Jigsaw get away. And the other thing is when he's standing there with a shotgun pointed at him, and Jigsaw is continually walking away. I'm like, bang, shoot you in the knee or something.
Yeah,
You're
I
not
think you've
moving,
done
mate.
Yeah.
He's done enough
Probable
to this
cause.
point.
We've got enough to say that you are
Well,
a
the problem is they didn't have a
murderer.
warrant, so they're there without a reason, but you could just say, we saw this bloke go in there.
Well, we heard the guy screaming. The guy with the thing. We heard him yelling.
Yeah.
Probable cause. Had no choice but to kick the
He'll
door.
go along with the story.
Then we saw a bloke that didn't look suspicious at all, walking in a robe. Bloody,
No, you see the
A wizard.
the chief.
Bloke dressed as Gandalf went in there.
That piqued our interest. A wizard sort of floated in. You can see the chief going. So you guys, you're telling me you didn't use a warrant. You came in. You saw a guy with 2 drills next to his head, and your decision was, let's wait and see what happens.
the way he says, let's watch, is just stupid, and then the way he lets him sort of... Jigsaw's moonwalking the whole time. He's just kind of... Just keeps shuffling. I'm not going anywhere. And then he does a swift, and he's a wizard. He's more like a Copperfield. He does a swift kind of spin.
The problem with that shit too is, like, as I said, he's got stage 4 cancer. That guy's rat shit, mate. He's not moving
He's walking
quickly.
around his house. Why has he got weapons attached to him when he's walking around his house?
Yeah, like his
So
Assassin's
dumb.
Creed blade in his wrist. Here's one I prepared earlier. He's got every contingency covered, this bloke.
He knew Tap was coming. He'd heard the mumbles.
Which one is it Saw 3, where he's literally dead, but he's planned the game in advance?
Yeah.
He's dead.
You've got to remove the bloody something from out of his
my
head.
fucking forehead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The man's a genius.
I only had one other... kind of already touched on it too, but the last thing I've got on my list was just the ending, that you don't get any resolution at the end.
Yeah.
That just bugs me because I've got OCD and I hate it. Does
You
that,
know
does that
it's
actually
fun.
get...
He's dead.
It gets resolved. I think... I can't remember which one it's
Donnie
on. I'm pretty
Wahlberg,
sure they find his
part 2.
skeleton. Or
Yeah.
They find Adam's skeleton.
find his
Yeah, they
skeleton,
find him still chained up in there.
Fuck, you chewed your foot off by then,
No,
don't
you
you?
cut it off. You still had a hacksaw.
No, he broke his hacksaw and threw it, remember?
Oh, that's right.
He broke it on the chain and then he threw it away.
And then he's in a dump.
Oh, I'd dunk my head in that dirty toilet. No, really. That's over with.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
In Saw 2, they come in and find him in the can.
Oh, that's a dark way to go, mate.
No, I think they probably found it and said, look, he must have got desperate because there's a triple decker in there.
He must have been at UC, building 10. Any other dislikes?
Not for me.
I had one. Initially, it was how fake the acting was when he was pretending to die.
Oh, that was terrible.
And then, but then that also...
Yeah, that whole sequence. Shh, don't tell him.
You can hear them whispering when the lights are off.
I did laugh.
It becomes even funnier when you realise the guy is sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
And then he gets electrocuted. You're like, that's
When he gets zapped, that was where it was funny because it's like he's gone from fake acting. He's gone from acting, fake acting to fake getting zapped, and it was highly amusing. And then Carrie always gets zapped as well, and he looks like he's planky. Piss funny.
Isn't it called the salmon or something?
Oh yeah.
When kids are doing the salmon,
Salmon.
the silly salmon. That's it. Kids have got everything covered these days.
Oh, anything else?
No.
That's it.
No.
Yeah, that's got me, I think.
All right, well, that was Saw.
I enjoyed it.
If you want to get in touch with us to abuse us about technical issues
or just our general quality,
send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Make sure you rate and review us at iTunes and Podomatic to help us spread the word. And our next episode is 2012's John Carter. But until then, take it easy and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.